What is a CDD fee? Have you been looking to move to St. John's and you've noticed we have a lot of communities here that have a CDD fee in the thousands? Well, today we're going to explore what a CDD is and what it does for the community. I'm Caitlin Blosser. I'm a local mom and realtor who lives in St. John's, and I'm here to help you whether you are a local looking to find a new home or whether you're looking to move to the St. John's or Northeast Florida area. Welcome to Living in St. John's. Don't forget to subscribe and click the link in my bio to book an appointment with me today. So what is a CDD fee? A CDD is a community development district, and what that is the developer of a community takes out a bond to help create all the infrastructure and those resort-like amenities for the community. They take out this bond, which is essentially a 20 to 30-year loan, so that they are able to develop the neighborhood accordingly. And then rather than the builder paying for it up front and putting that fee into the cost of the home, they take that fee, and then once you purchase the home, that fee goes onto the homeowner and gets associated with the home as they pay that loan back over the next 20 to 30 years, depending on how long that bond was taken out for. So in theory, it's to keep home prices lower. But in actuality, I don't really know if it's doing that. But I will say most of the communities that do have CDD fees, you're not necessarily going to get a cheaper house because a lot of the homes in that neighborhood are extra desirable because of the amenities, keeping that market value up higher. So although that's why CDD fees were created, don't think, oh, if it has a CDD fee, it's going to be cheaper than a neighborhood without a CDD fee. That is not always the case. So within your CDD fee, you're going to have two parts of it. You have your bond portion and you have your operations and maintenance portion. Your bond payment is paying back the county. It's paying back that loan that the developer took out with the county. It's a fixed amount for however the length of the term of the bond was. Then you have your operations and maintenance, and this never goes away. So we've had communities like Beach Walk where when they were trying to bring buyers in, it had kind of a higher CDD than people locally were used to. So a lot of builders were incentivizing buyers by saying, hey, we'll pay off your CDD fee. So yes, the builder paid off the bond portion, but those homeowners are still going to have to pay off that operations and maintenance portion for its entirety. So the bond, again, is that loan, and operations and maintenance is what it takes to operate and maintain all those amenities. So think of it almost like the operations and maintenance portion, almost like an HOA fee that typically occurs in a neighborhood without a CDD fee, in the sense of that HOA fee or the operations and maintenance portion is what is going to maintain those pools. It's what's going to add the amenities, clean the pools, things like that. So keep that in mind. And that's why sometimes you'll see a drastic difference in the cost of CDD fees. I mentioned Beach Walk as an example, and there's homes in there that have CDD fees close to $4,800 a year. And then there's homes in there that have CDD fees close to $1,000. And that's because the builder paid off that bond portion. So the ones that are only paying $1,000, it's probably because they only have that operations and maintenance portion of the CDD. Now, CDD fees are different than HOAs. HOA fees for a number of reasons. The first reason, and probably the most important reason that you need to realize that it is part of your property taxes, meaning it is paid in as part of your mortgage. It's part of your tax bill. It's due to the county. It's the county, in my opinion, which I think is true. It's the county's way of making sure they get their money, right? If it's an HOA bill that's due once a year, you could easily not pay it. They don't get their money. So I think that's why they put it in the property taxes, because at the end of the day, it is a bond with the county. So if you don't pay your property taxes, you're in a lot of trouble. So they make sure they're getting their bond paid back. And this is important because it can truly make a big difference in your mortgage payment when you're home shopping. Like I mentioned, Beach Walk does have some homes with CDD fees that are around $4,800. Rivertown also has some in the 4,000s. Nocatee is the 2,000s. Durban, you get up in the 3,000s. That can affect your monthly payment between $200 to $400 a month. Now, granted, you're getting these resort-like amenities, So you might be saving money by not buying those Disney annual passes or not spending a ton of money on the weekends because you're just going to your neighborhood lazy river or your neighborhood zip line, things like that. But it will make an impact on your budget because, again, they never go away. The other thing with CDDs is they vary by home site. So I like to think of it as like, think of a neighborhood like a big circle, right? Like a big, almost pie chart. The smaller lots have a smaller CDD fee than bigger lots. It doesn't go off of the size of the home, it's going to go off of the size of the lot. So rather than everyone in the neighborhood paying the exact same CDD fees, a lot of times when you go into a new construction home or new construction neighborhood, they'll say, hey, our 40-foot lots have a CDD fee of X, our 50-foot have X, and our 60-foot have X. And it's obviously going to get bigger. So think the bigger lot size you have, the bigger room you're taking up, the higher your CDD fee will be. You have neighborhoods like Durban where you could have like a 3,500 square foot home where your CDD fee is probably going to be around $3,500 to $3,800. Again, not off the size of the home, but just think if it's 3,500 square feet, it's on a bigger lot compared to the townhomes where you're going to be closer to 1,000 because you're on a skinnier piece of land. So CDD fees do fluctuate from house by house or lot size by lot size. So if you're looking in a community, make sure you're asking for each individual house you're looking at what those CDD fees are going to be. And that's another thing when you're looking into property taxes, because it is paid into your property tax bill. That's why taxes might seem higher in one neighborhood opposed to another, because those fees are added in. Another thing of why it's different than your HOA fee is your HOA fee is not paid in your property taxes. And the HOA fee, even if you're in a neighborhood with a CDD fee, you will still have an HOA fee. And that's because the HOA is still responsible for things like your architectural review committee. So if you want to install a fence, if you want to put a pool in, if you want to change the color of your exterior of your house, you're still going to deal with your HOA. Now, at most times, if you're going to have a large CDD, you do have the HOA in place. Durban Crossing, I want to say their HOA fee is like $50 a year. So it's a very minimal amount. You get into some other communities where, like, there's parts of Beacon Lake where the CDD is $3,400 and then the HOA is like $86 a month. So you're still at about $1,200 a month. So if you're looking in the St. Johns County area, it's very important you take all these fees into consideration. Because they can add up. And again, you're getting great quality neighborhoods for the fees, but you just don't want to be house poor because you didn't take all these fees into consideration. I know personally when we moved back to St. John's, we did not have kids at the time, and my husband was like, we don't need a CDD neighborhood. We don't need a lazy river. We don't need water slides. We don't need all these things. So we just bought into a neighborhood without a CDD fee, which is an HOA and a simple playground and things like that. And our HOA fee when we bought in was $650, and now it's up to $900. So just like our HOA fees can, because we're kind of also taking the operations and maintenance of our whole neighborhood into that HOA, CDD fees can fluctuate as well. That operations and maintenance portion, the bond will never fluctuate, but the operations and maintenance portion can fluctuate depending on inflation, depending on if they've decided to develop more, build more amenities, things like that. But with us moving into a neighborhood with just an HOA, we don't have a lot of that stuff. Those amenities that you're paying for with CDDs, they're going to keep, like I said, that market desire up. They're going to help maintain the neighborhood a lot more than when you don't have a CDD fee. So although it's coming with extra costs, there are a lot of extra benefits to living into a neighborhood with a CDD fee. And it's one of my biggest regrets. I wish we would have explored more, but that's okay. I do love my house and where we live. But I do think, although my husband was so gung-ho on not wanting a CDD fee, I do see the benefits. And like I said, our CDD fees our HOA fees are up to almost $1,000. Likewise, there's some HOAs around here, like Cimarron Golf and Country Club. Their HOA fees, they have never had a CDD fee, but their HOA fees are about $2,250 a year, and that's every home in the community is $2,250 a year. Silverleaf is a big neighborhood coming in. that prides itself on it's going to have all these amenities but no CDD fees. And right now their HOA fees are about $1,700 a year. I'm very curious with Silverleaf as it keeps developing and once it's complete, will their HOA fees stay that low or will their HOA fees start competing with the costs of other neighborhood CDD fees? So one last thing to note about CDD fees is if you live in a neighborhood that does have a CDD fee, then it is open to the public, meaning there's a certain allotted amount of memberships that the public can purchase to partake in your neighborhood amenities. With it being a CDD, it cannot be private. Now, does that mean anyone can just walk into your pool? No, but it does mean people can purchase CDD memberships. It was a big thing at Beach Walk where Beach Walk was trying to sell memberships while they were still trying to sell homes in there to get the public in. So if you're interested in St. John's and maybe fallen in love with a house that doesn't have a CDD fee, but you're close to a neighborhood that does, that's something you can also look into. It's typically more expensive to join as a part of the public, but it's only about, from the research I've done, about $500 to $1,000 more. I want to say Jointon Creek Plantation, I want to say it's about $3,500 to $4,500 to join their CD annually. So that's something you can also look at. I know we looked at joining Jointon Creek or Durbin Crossing at one point, and then because I was like, look, if it's only $3,500 to join their CDD, and then we get access to all their pools, tennis courts, basketball courts, all their activities, things like that. That's a lot that we get for the money. And if we want to put in a pool that's $70,000, that's 20 years of paying for a CDD. So maybe it's worth it to take advantage of their pool than to build our own. So that's one way to look at it. And maybe you don't like the homes in Nocatee, but you want to buy into all Nocatee has. Now, like I said, there are a limited number of memberships per each neighborhood. So it's something you want to inquire about and see if you can join. I have a feeling Nocatee probably sells out of their memberships very often, but Jointon Creek Plantation, Durbin Crossing, maybe not so much. So that is it for today, talking about CDD fees. The biggest things to remember is you're going to have your bond portion and your O&M. It's all paid in as one payment. The operations and maintenance will never go away even after that bond is paid off. You can resell all you want with a CDD fee, and then the new homeowner just takes all on that bond through the rest of it. Your operations and maintenance will never go away, but think that's what's there maintaining your incredible amenities, your dog parks, your lazy rivers, your water slides, your water parks, your pools, playgrounds, things like that. So there's a lot of benefits to buying in a neighborhood with a CDD fee, such as that extra care, that extra maintenance, that extra constant development. But if that's something that scares you due to budget or maybe that doesn't interest you, look for a home not in a CDD neighborhood. And then remember, you can always join a neighborhood with a CDD and take advantage of those amenities without living in the community. So I'm Caitlin Blosser. Again, I'm a local to St. John's. Happy to help you with all your real estate needs of Northeast Florida. Again, if you want to book a call with me, check out the link in my bio and let's get together. Have a great day and see you next week.